Welcome to Philly Coco Presents Side Project Spotlight, episode 75. This is a developer's journey into making cool stuff. I'm Kotaro.
I'm Steve.
And I'm Aaron.
And we are Philly Coco, a Philadelphia-based Cocoa Heads community focused on Apple development that primarily, but not exclusively, means iOS, Mac, tvOS, watchOS, and visionOS development. Philly Coco's true desire is to take you higher on your own developer journey. All right.
Cool.
Not too bad. At least I got through that. 75, that's a reasonable milestone. That's 3/4 of the way to 100.
We're officially old.
Yeah, I've been old for a while.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're like retirement age, right? Oh wait, we're past that. At least in the real world context. But speaking of retirement age, just kidding. There is some iPhone news. New iPhones out for pre-order. Are you guys considering? Yeah.
I like the Pro model. I have not bought this, so I was all ready to buy it. I was all ready to. I had like the reservation set up, and then I just deleted it because so much money. That I wanted to wait to see some reviews. I don't know, man. I'm also really close to just doing the upgrade thing again. Like I used to do that, but then you had to go into the whole get a loan deal, and I hated dealing with that last time I had it because it was a pain in the butt to pay it off faster.
Yeah.
But you know what? I might have to do that because these phones are so freaking expensive, and I feel like
you still
17
have to pay for you still have to pay for the taxes of the whole thing up front, which I thought was kind of annoying. Yeah. So
I mean, you got to pay for everything up front.
Yeah. So if you're doing that upgrade plan thing, if that's what you're referring to.
Oh yeah.
So in my case, I was thinking, let me see what the deals are for the carriers, which in my case is T-Mobile.
Oh yeah, that's what I
and see, like, I couldn't quite understand their marketing versus like what Apple was saying, and the trade-in value was about $150 for Apple because I have a 12 mini, which I was actually surprised that it was going to be worth anything.
I have a 14 Pro Max. They're only going to give me like $400 or $500 for it. Yeah.
So, but I think the individual carriers have their own unique deal depending on like what you go with. But I need to like see like what the fine print is because there's always like weird fine prints, and ultimately I don't know if it actually makes that much of a difference in terms of like overall costs. And if I had to pick between the two companies, I would just rather go through Apple since their process is a lot easier. So
yeah, I agree with you. I haven't bought through carrier in like many years. I just I like to I just want to own the phone and not have to deal with other companies. And
I mean, I don't mind doing the 24-month thing, especially through the Apple Card.
That's another option too.
Yeah,
but
so in
I'm
that
thinking
case,
of the
that'd be
upgrade
like,
program again.
Yeah,
because I think the 17 is going to be a big redesign. And then
interesting.
And it's like, do I wait until 17 or maybe because with the upgrade program, if you're okay leasing your phone, I mean, you're just, you're paying for half a phone every year and getting the newest one. So it's like, it's fine if you're okay with continuously paying money for your phone. But I don't know. I have the money saved up. I just don't know if I want to spend. It's so much money. It's like buying a laptop, man. It's like
get the regular iPhone 16.
No, I can't go back to 60 hertz displays and the Pro model also does JPEG XL this year, which is something I saw recently confirmed. I think on some photographer podcast, and I'm actually really excited about that. It's another.
What does that mean for non-photographers?
Probably not much. It just means you can get kind of more raw like ability. It's kind of like it's kind of like you can get more editing ability, but a lot smaller file sizes, and it's more compatible than that HEIC or whatever that file format is that no one else seems to support but Apple. HEIC, I think.
Yeah. Is it but is it lossy format or is it is there like
I haven't looked into it heavily. It's called JPEG XL, so I'm not really sure. But I'd be interested in like that. I'd be interested in course, I think you have to have the Pro model in order to do Pro RAW. Like I always shoot, I shoot a lot of photos, maybe a majority of them in the RAW format,
right.
in the Apple RAW format, which I don't think is on the regular iPhone. So that would be why I would pick the Pro.
I keep forgetting. In your case, like you would probably need a lot of storage. You would have to pay for a lot of storage, right? So are you maxing out on the storage?
Yeah, I have a 256 gig now, and like 100 gigs left on it. And you think, oh, that's fine. Except that when you start doing video, it like even 512, if you were doing a lot of video creation, but if you just want to try out like the new like 120 frames per second, or you want to try out the really huge the ProRes files or something. Like that's just going to eat up all your storage. So I was looking.
Just carry around a giant external drive all the time.
You know, that's actually not the terrible idea if you're going to be doing a lot of filming, because
why don't you carry like a big rig that you can put your phone in?
But no, But Aaron has a good point, because before the USB-C transition, which was what the last year's phone. You couldn't record to an external drive. So you had to have all your storage. All storage you needed had to be on device. Now, I don't know what limitations exist with the drive, but I have seen like little drives you can get that kind of like you can connect to the back of the phone. I don't know if they're magnetic or you just tape them there or something, but
yeah. I mean, they
little drives.
I mean, they are pretty compact these days. I mean, if you just get yourself a terabyte drive or even a 2 terabyte drive, they're still pretty small. You know, at least when we were growing up, they were like thick as bricks. Kids these days.
I know. But I'm still on the fence about getting one. I'll look at some reviews. I'll go to the Apple Store. I do this every year.
That's probably reasonable, and then go to Delaware. You know.
Go to Delaware, yeah. I mean, it's like...
You know, you just happen to be in the area, you know. You just happen to pre-order it over there, you know, to pick it up over there. So...
yeah. But it's a cool phone. I just... And the camera button is actually pretty cool looking. And
what is the rumor about the next-gen 18 Pro that you would be willing to wait for? In terms of like a redesign, like what is the feature that they're rumoring about?
I don't really know any rumors. I just thought that it's probably about time. This feels like a 15. No.
Yeah, that's true.
So what have you heard?
That's true. I have not heard. The only 2 rumors I've heard is thinner, which I think is still technically these devices are technically thinner. And
I'd say lighter than mine.
And one maybe a foldable? I don't know. Like
I don't know if they're gonna do foldable. I don't believe it. I'll believe when I see it.
I don't entirely buy it, but I could see it for the consumer version. Like foldables are not something that I think is pro level feature, and I don't think like there are a lot of like asks for it. But if you were to say like what would make it compelling is if you made it, if it was targeted for consumers and it was cheaper. But I don't think the feature foldable phones are that much cheaper. So I don't know. It feels like a consumer a consumer kind of product in my mind. It makes sense.
Consumer prices though.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I'm not. When I say consumer, I mean like $600 to $700, $800. You have to add that Apple tax on top, just for it's
a lot.
Yeah.
I am interested in the camera button.
Yes.
But I think it is only limited to camera apps, I believe.
Yeah, that's what it looks like right now.
The other thing that's
they'll open that up anytime soon, or it's always going to be only for camera stuff.
There is like a camera control API.
Right, but it's only valid when like you're in an AV
right here
session.
Right, that's fine. So the interesting part is like whether or not it's as simple as like some kind of. What I'm curious is about like I think if you go all the way down, right, the top part is like you would have to like have some kind of icon, right, for the control where you scroll to for your feature, your app's feature, and then at the bottom screen, the screenshot there. That where the white capture button there.
Yeah.
I want to know if that's configurable or custom to something that we would build internally. So a good example for just a silly example might be like maybe you would have university filters or something, something that injects like a post effect of some kind, right?
I think in the screenshot, the screenshot just shows like mock-ups of a camera app with the shutter button on the bottom of the phone, and saying don't duplicate the controls if you're using the button, the camera control button. Don't duplicate the same controls that you can access in it. Don't put them in the overlay. I don't think that this indicates. I don't know if this actually indicates what their screen always looks like when you're using this, because I thought that was dependent on your app.
And that's the part that I'm curious about.
You can provide your own like custom UI for that.
Yeah, like Halide is going to use this, right?
I think so.
Yeah, there's a few apps in the keynote.
Yeah, I think Halide was one of them. Definitely Instagram for sure. I think Instagram had their own custom filter in that demo.
Yeah,
but I could be wrong there. But yeah.
I wish you could use it for other things. But this is a good start.
Well, I think it'd be interesting for you, particularly as a photographer. Say, maybe there's some feature that you can like do like a pseudo shortcut feature of some kind that would like improve a process. I think there's something there. Again, you would need the hardware to even figure this out, right? So it's a very niche group, right? And it would be like a niche pro group. You might consider even like a niche, quote unquote, I hate this term, but at least it gets to the point, content creator, right? Where this is the target market.
Yeah, everybody's a content creator now. I don't even hear YouTubers call themselves YouTubers anymore. They're like, I'm a content creator. We're content creators, apparently.
I guess, yeah.
I guess we're creating content right now.
Wait, you can't call it... Wait, what would you call us? Like podcasters? I guess technically we were podcasters before. Like if we're trying to like fit in a genre, but if we want to be like the overarching like media creation sphere, which I think that's technically what that's more of a proper technical term, right? Media creation or media creator. Content creator.
But the camera control is cool from a developer's perspective if you have a camera app. But there's other stuff that came out in iOS 18 specifically. There's all the Apple Intelligence stuff, which we can't really use yet. That's coming.
Did they give a date on that?
No.
It's coming sometime this year.
Sometime. I mean, what's funny is like what's funny is like I don't think they specified a year. They just said coming soon. Now there's like a minimum amount that's probably going to come out in 0.1, which the betas are there available right now for like limited Apple Intelligence. So like the simple erasing somebody out of your photos is like an example of like that, or like any text editing app like Mail or something like that, you can actually highlight paragraph or something and then say make this sound friendlier or less aggressive or more professional. Like there are options that it will allow you to pick out of that I believe is something you can do now in like in the latest version of like, at least when I'm testing this out on my iPad, which I have like 18.1 beta installed. There are you can do that in those apps. Anything with like text editing features or stuff like that.
But the Apple, like the Dingus integration with the Apple Intelligence, that is not. I don't know when that's coming out.
That is,
but that uses intent. So if you use, you're doing a thumbs down gesture. For the listeners, it
does its best, but like
podcast.
sometimes it's it has still falls into the same Siri traps.
I don't think it's out yet. Is what I'm saying. It's not actually part of Apple Intelligence.
No,
I guess those like fancy new servers that they're supposed to be running your stuff on, it's not ready yet.
I don't know, man.
I guess
This is another reason why I'm
it
like,
must be
do I want
running
to
on-
buy this? Or do I
Well,
want to...
I mean,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hold out for another year.
I know. I keep thinking I should hold it for another year or get the upgrade program because it's like, this really feels like a transitional period.
yeah, it's really targeted to people like me, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. Your phone is how
That's
many
been
years
holding
old?
out. Oh, geez. Well, it's a 12 mini, so like you times that.
That's
by,
still
like,
newer than like
six-
is that newer than an XR? Doesn't our friend
Yes.
Zorn have an XR or something?
Yeah, well, he's holding on hope. He'll probably.
I
Who knows?
don't
He'll
even know
probably
if that-
migrate to Android at this point.
Does it even support
you do the-
iOS 18? But then there's other stuff, as I was saying, that's come out, and our favorite app that we don't use actually has a nice design update.
Mm-hmm.
That would be this slopes at getslopes.com.
Yep.
But I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at this. This is our friend Curtis.
Yep.
And yeah, slopes, I don't know. This is not technically, I guess, iOS 18 specifically related, except for the icons, the dark mode icons, I guess. But the new design they came out with, if you go look on the website, it's cool. It's card based, like over top of a map. And I was playing around with it, and it makes sense because each of the major areas of the application has a map, but the map, I guess, is showing different things because all the data in slopes makes sense on a map. So why not? So there's describe in audio form. The map is the bottom layer, and then on top of the map there are sliding modals. You know, like what do we call them? What do they call it in SwiftUI?
Sheets.
Sheets, yeah, the sheets. So there you go. That's the word. The basic word that I can't remember.
Just like
so they have
like
the sheets there. Yeah, or like the Apple Maps, kind of like Apple Maps too. That has a sheet over top of the map, and it works really well. I was playing around with it. There's still tabs there, but the sheets are where all the UI lives, and then so it's not really like super different from the old one in terms of I think a lot of the functionality and buttons and stuff, but it feels really good just to play around with it for the little that I could with no real data because I haven't skied
very cool.
like, ever. But it's very nice. I would highly recommend checking it out. Curtis does a really good job design on slopes, and over the years it's evolved multiple times, and each time I think he's really like he really has the pulse of cutting edge OS design, I think. So
Yeah, I think with Curtis Herbert, who is one of our original organizers for Philly Cocoa, for people who don't know, he always going to be at the cutting edge. He's going to always try to get as many features of the latest OS as possible to get in a day. You can be assured, like any of the cool features or the more high-profile features that Apple is touting, Curtis will have it there day one, particularly in the case of like areas that you wouldn't expect them to be at, whether it be watchOS, Apple Intelligence, and whatever you can use Apple Intelligence for.
yeah,
And then he has sort of built his own little moat of custom data that's hard to really replicate because it requires a lot of manual work and visitations to as many slopes as possible. Oh, the pain to have to go to all these slopes, all these resorts. I'm sure that's painful for him and his colleagues, but just to map out the trails. But it's very cool. Yeah, it's good to see.
yeah.
But cool. I guess we can go off on a separate tangent. Another update. Horrible transition, but that's what we're good at. Is
We need like a
I'm
horrible
continuing-
transition sound effect.
Yeah, I am actually working on sound. So I'm continuing to work on this Game Jam game, even though it's past the deadline and there's really no point. But the original point of doing this Game Jam side project, for lack of a better word now, is my goal was always to learn the Godot game engine, which is free open source game engine that has begun to start building up its popularity, especially after Unity game engine has been doing a lot of weird stuff with their licensing policy.
Didn't they just reverse course though on some of their make their licensing more like it was?
They did. So basically what happened is that they had like a really horrible new pricing scheme that would retroactively apply runtime fees for all the apps and games, and it wasn't quite clear how they were going to like track this and how they were going to find out. Like it was like a shakedown in the most absurd way possible for all the game developers. They were trying to go after primarily the Genshin Impacts of the world, the free to play kind of games where they make a lot of money sort of on the back end, right? On like subscription pass, season passes, that kind of stuff. The just blew up in their face. The entire board and the CEO had to be kicked out and replaced. It was that bad. It was so bad. They basically had to like, and then they had to like tone down the runtime fee requirements and like make it up to us, the developers, to like, it was because at that point, like, I'm pretty sure a majority of the indie developers are like, well, I can't trust this company at all. And I've already expressed this in prior podcasts. It's just like there's no guarantee I can trust this company to not pull like a funny, like it's one thing to be like, we're going to change our policies. And in this new version, I think now they've renamed it to like Unity 6. And this new version of Unity, all these licensing fees apply, right? But they were like, nope, we're going after you on prior so like again, they reversed course. Like you said, they got rid of the CEO, they got rid of a good chunk of the boards, the people responsible with this bad, horrible licensing decision. But at that point, the damage was done. Half good chunk of the people who, especially the indie developers, who are a good core part of the, I wouldn't call them customer base, but like the creator base, had decided, you know what, screw you, right? And so they went in different places, whether it be the Unreal Engine, Game Maker, and Godot being one of the more popular choices.
Right. And Godot I saw some comment on social media, I think some developer was saying, kind of, thanks for supercharging Godot, something like that.
I mean, it was enough for me. I mean, I was like fine with Unity, and I was okay with.
Unity like their actions, you supercharged interest in Godot, and so now Godot has gained much popularity. I think we talked about this last time.
Yeah.
So not to repeat ourselves too much, but you really like Godot.
Yeah. The energy, the actual editor itself reminds me a lot of early Unity. When it was just coming out, and you can kind of see like the same type of games being produced. Like they're not, these are like mostly pixel art games for the most part, but you can kind of begin to see like a trajectory of like more complicated, more polished games coming through the pipeline. And it's going to take some time because people are just getting used to the platform. It follows a very similar type of architecture in a weird way. Like Unity, it's kind of like an ECS style of programming. It uses C#, but most people use their built-in. But most people use their built-in GD script. You can pick and choose whichever you want. That is how they look at it. Is like it's a personal choice at that point. Mm-hmm. The only thing that is challenging is that you need to, I think the C# runtime kind of comes along for the ride, so you have to like, it's a bigger download. But as a
.NET runtime,
but like as a product, one of the things that the journey continues. I can show you guys some stuff real quick. Can I share or? You're sharing, so now, okay, cool. Let me share my screen.
The audience is like, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah, right. Let's see how this goes. Oh boy. All right, so now you see infinite wheels. All right, do I have to hide you guys?
You're not sharing a.
That's not
Kotaro.
Let you hide.
Sharing the screen that he's looking at, and not a browser tab or some specific window. So we're seeing like the infinite expanse
is it still showing the infinite or no?
It's showing like our text chat and like good thing we're not actually doing a video.
I know. Let me stop sharing. I guess I have to share. I'm trying to share a window, but like, is it okay? I have to do it one at a time. How's this? Is that working?
Okay, that works.
Yeah,
we see that.
So I've actually before I didn't even create the character. So this is the character, the little astronaut character that's going to go up a shaft, basically trying to escape the lava and also trying to escape debris. So that was a sketch I did, just a basic sketch in Procreate. Then on top of, so I don't know if I'll share that somewhere on our channel, but like you'd have to join the Slack if you want to see that. Our Philly Coco Slack.
phillycoco.org.
Yeah. And then I started using something called Pixin, which here, this is, since I'm trying to learn pixel art, this is a really good program because it is available, uses iCloud syncing, so you can start this anywhere. I started this on my iPad, and I'm kind of going to finish this on my MacBook. The only one they don't have, I think, is like iPhone for some reason, but you can. But that, so you saw the sketch, and now you're seeing the actual pixel game art, which I think is like a 32 by 32 pixel. So that is going into the game, and then on top of that, I am. Let me bring up the Godot game engine. One thing that is kind of interesting, don't mind this. This is like placeholder stuff, but this is actually the animation sheet, the animation of a Breaky's little thing of a little
you're
knight.
Showing a little pixel knight character that you designed, and it's kind of like hopping.
It's not what I designed. It's just it's just a placeholder. But this is the Godot game engine. One of the things that I'm trying to do now is kind of bringing my assets. I'm doing everything backwards, to be quite honest. But the file system, actually, let me put this over here.
This is riveting audio for the radio right now.
Sorry. So, wait, I don't know if I can. I don't know if this is going to share the audio. This will be interesting. I don't know if it's going to share the audio, but if it doesn't,
I mean, it theoretically should.
It theoretically should. Okay, so I'm bringing in all the voices.
Well, I don't hear anything, so maybe it doesn't.
Okay, sorry. I'll be a little more prepared next time. But basically, I have a colleague, Alex Cole, who's a really good sound engineer, and he had two songs. One song actually that is that I'm going to add as a menu song. That's kind of got this retro, new wavy vibe, and then I'm going to add
you can open them in your browser if you really want.
Let me try while we're speaking. And then the other song is kind of like more like a stock music. And I'm actually going to use it for pixel font, which is hilarious because it was like one of the John Grubert's Daring Fireball links. There's a free font called Departure Mono, which is basically a pixel. That's kind of like one of these like modern fonts, but like it looks like it belongs in like early 80s, like even arguably closer to like do you remember the old school Ultima?
Yeah.
Do you remember the pixel art in that? Yeah, it sounds like that.
That's cool.
But let me share at least. Okay, let me see. Share screen and then share the new wave thing. All right, let's see if this works. All right. Whoa, that's too loud. Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
All right, so. But yeah,
this 3 minutes long. No, I don't know. It's fine because this gets edited afterwards.
Oh, okay. Because now it lowers your voice.
Yeah, I have. As we're recording this, I have no idea what this will sound like in the recording because none of the things that we hear, the volume levels, have anything to do with how it's recorded.
Then we're in for a treat.
No, the beauty of online recording platforms, you have no idea what anything sounds like.
Okay, so there's that song.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I was talking over it, so hope you heard a little bit of that.
Let me share one more, and then we can kind of get back to
I love how you're
things
doing
here.
all this extra editing work here.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. And then this is like stock art that I got from a humble bundle from a long time ago. So this would be like sort of like imagine your character jumping platform to platform to platform on your phone, trying to escape lava.
You can't see me, but I'm kind of like driving to it.
You drive into it, and then at the top there's debris that's going to come down and try to take you down. In the mix of all this, your character is trying to collect coins for some stupid reason because the company told you to collect coins, and you're trying to escape while trying to collect coins. Part of the reason is to sort of create levels of tension within the gameplay. So if there's no stakes, it's hard to like really enjoy a game in that sense, like that type of game. So it's meant to like ratchet up the tension to get you to incentivize you to get up higher as fast as you can. Now, the trick of that type of game is traditional arcade style of like maybe within the first 2 minutes you need to understand the core mechanics of how to play the game, and then afterwards it'll ramp up dramatically in terms of like trying to kill you basically. So that would be my intention of how I make this particular game before
that's cool.
I'm satisfied with how it ends. But yeah, that's
some
pretty much the
artwork.
progress.
So you got some artworks, you got some sketches, you got a pixel art you started, and you have some music.
Yes.
That's cool. So you are doing things backwards.
I technically have the code base for the actual gameplay, but it's based off of a tutorial that, while fine, is very much tutorial-y in terms of how it plays. So one of the things that I need to do is like get all that stuff in there first before I fine-tune everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't have any idea like what long-term vision I have for that, aside from adding all the weird voiceovers and...
Oh yeah, from last time. If you don't remember, if you didn't listen to the last episode, I think that's where we had it, right? With your voiceovers, the mocking whatever AI, robot, whatever the character is going to be in your game.
Right.
It was funny.
Right. So that is the vision for now. I mean, that is the progress for now.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
So, but yeah, I guess we can transition to the next topic. We're all like jumping through topics today, which is good.
Well, one more topic probably here. I mean, you were saying you were very interested. You were telling me specifically that you had visionOS Epiphanies, at least one epiphany. Now that's tense language.
Yes,
you have to back that up.
You were gonna show me something, but you never did. So
it was getting late in the day. I was meaning to, but I was like, okay, I gotta at least record this video and then I can show it to you.
Real work. So
yeah. We both had to.
You got to explain.
Okay, so to start, one of the things that I was watching intently was much like once the hype died down for Vision Pro and visionOS in general, I was trying to keep track of, which I was actually excited about because now the focus could be what this thing could do, right? Like the people who were going to stick around, we're going to be serious about it and try to figure out, because the Vision Pro in and of itself is not what I would call a product for consumers. It is a product for enthusiasts.
Yeah, I agree. It's very much case.
And it is for now. But the point is like you are, and it speaks volume about how a lot of people in the review community who had reviewed this had always mentioned how maybe it's not a product for the average consumer, but it is for something in the future. Like it's holding the future in your hands, basically.
Or on
like
your
you
face.
get it on your sure, yeah, on your face, right?
On your face, the future on your face.
On your face, right?
And
so like
in your face.
And that would be the worst version of that particular project, right? Like it was going to be an accelerator of that kind of space because it was so far ahead of what was already around at that time. And that's just 1 year. I don't even know if it's technically how old is the Vision Pro?
It's not even a year old.
It's not even a year old, right?
I think what's interesting is I think the next visionOS headset might actually be worse than this one in some ways, because the rumor is that Apple is focusing on price reduction, so they're going to have to cut things, make trade-offs. But the core features that make this amazing, I think, will obviously be carried in some way. And so, long term,
what they're going.
This is the worst version.
You know what they're going to get rid of? The thing that Aaron hates so much.
What's that?
the eye, the front facing
eye
eyes
thing. I don't know,
the
man.
fake eyes.
Maybe.
Either that or they're like,
you know what they'll do?
They're even making
call that an upgrade.
They'll double down. No, or we'll bring back Apple stickers, but they'll just be variations of eyes you can just stick on the front of your your lower
googly
cost
eyes?
Vision Pro, your Vision.
Should've thought about
That would be interesting.
The new Apple stickers.
It'd just be like all those movies with robots and that it just have like animated cartoon eyes.
Yeah, I'd want to get some of the googly eyes that they use on the robots at the giant food store.
Watch faces where there's only like 3 of them, and they'll release like one
right.
every year.
They'll give you like a googly eye. They'll give you like a I don't know, like
I feel like
circle eyes and oval eyes. It'd be like Mii's, like a Nintendo Mii's.
That would strike me as much closer to like whatever the Android equivalent would be. Like, I find that to be like when there is an Android equivalent of visionOS, right? Whatever,
right.
Whether it be Android or some other like Meta Quest or whatever, right? Meta OS, right? Like they would be like, okay, you can have customize, right?
Yeah. But so what if this is an epiphany?
So I've been going and I've been following a lot of people who are kind of like diving deep. Your Satoshis of the world, your Sakaguchis, a lot of Japanese actually. A lot of Japanese are really into this product. But the one thing that is interesting is that they are beginning to do the thing that I had hoped would happen eventually. Like I knew it wasn't going to happen in the beginning, but they are trying to like they've broken out of that rectangle that we call the monitor, the TV screen, whatever you want to call it, right? Your phone screen. It's out of the rectangle, and in the context of like now we're saying, okay, we can put this UI on my hand, right? We can put this UI, and then it can superimpose gloves on that UI, and then like transition from AR to VR and back again. It can be a very smooth transition.
Is this one of the examples you put in the notes for today?
Yeah. So I think you can. Let me see which. I have to review the notes, but you can start with the first one, I guess.
Okay.
Oh, okay. The first one is the spatial drawing one. That is an example of code of just drawing blobs in space. So you can use your fingers to pinch and then draw something. This is a sample code by Apple.
I'm gonna have to look at this because one of the features that I thought was most interesting, apps that were most interesting that have come out with Vision Pro were the drawing apps. I mean, I had a whole. I mean, I've talked about this with people about how that's cool. Like that's actually that kind of technique is really useful if you want to create a augmented reality artwork of different kinds. Being able to draw in space is very, very useful.
So if you look at the second link, this spatial paint actually was kind of probably the one that sort of inspired that sample code. Yeah. So the app itself, this is just a promo, so there's a lot of excessive performance.
I'll mute the audio. Do we want the audio? We don't need it.
Not really. I mean, people can go to the link.
People listening, video of woman putting on the goggles, and then it will be in the show notes for this, and then drawing in space these like lights. I don't even have to so she blink. Is this really what it looks like?
No,
it's a promo video. Oh, okay, there we go. The drawing. Okay,
all that lens flare stuff is like they've been watching too much J.J. Abrams, so you can leave that part alone. This is just a promotion. Yeah. So, and I can show you kind of how it works mechanically. In fact, I think since that time, I don't. One of the things that's interesting is like it mechanically is not that great. And keep in mind, I'm still viewing this as from the lens of like the potential, more so than the actual. There's a better example somewhere else, but it's the kind of thing that I think is like interesting in a way that is kind of like once you're in a zone, right? Like there's one of the few times where an app will get you in a certain, like when you draw or when you're like focused on something, right? Like there's sometimes an app will like grab you in a way of like saying, hey, oh wow, this is like I am in a certain, like it gets me into a certain creative space and I can like build this thing and I can just be in that world.
And so that's your epiphany.
Well, that was kind of like, let me share, I have to put this in a window. That was kind of an epiphany from a standpoint of like, as somebody that likes to draw.
Yeah.
Oops, wait, no, I was about to put, in this particular tab.
No, you have it up. Don't mess your tab.
I can't do a movie in that. Okay, I'll just do it from the TV screen. Well, TV screen. Am I old?
The drawing stuff. I thought it was cool that you can create these 3D sculptures essentially with it, and then you could interact potentially with the sculptures because they occlude. So,
what's the editing like? Have you used this app?
Yeah, I was using it today at work, but I used it before. But this was just to. This is like a really.
How editable are these things after the fact, or is it just kind of like,
not editable at all? So
like
one of the
Photoshop, the thing is like locked in place, and you can't really.
At the moment, I don't think there was a eraser feature for sure.
Is this the video that you made? You're about to show?
Yeah. So this is the same app in question.
For showing the painting app.
Yeah. So one of the things that's interesting about it is that your palette is attached to your left hand. I'm not sure if you can change that, but then in there, I always forget the mechanic of like where you actually use something like a pinch mechanic, but it's with your middle fingers to like switch the tabs. So you're using your left hand and you're pinching with like your thumb and like your third finger or your second finger. You can kind of switch between the two, and I never really like it doesn't really explain how, but the controls are not easy to like. Well, I just started using it, so like it's not
you just
that
drew
great.
over the palette.
I drew over the palette, to change the colors palette, but then I think like once you get into a certain rhythm, it gives you a. It's kind of fascinating to just explore. I was just trying to like select the settings, but you can use metallic textures. You can do like opaque or like flat color textures. You can change it the size to be like a big wide brush or a short brush. You can turn it into a marker, which I didn't try yet. There are a lot of options, and I'm trying to like because you think the other trick is like you can look at the tabs and then make that selection. But again, I'm not getting to it, so that's where you're seeing the struggle. It'll come up eventually. Let me see if I can just fast forward, but like. To the settings bit. Yeah, so like you can technically undo stuff, I guess. But the other thing is once you're in the settings, then it changes the mechanic to like be able to rotate and move it.
Okay.
So again, Aaron, probably we can try this out some other time. But like the point being is like that's one very basic example of like even within of like the mechanic of like using your left hand or using a hand gesture in a very bespoke way, right, to do certain mechanics.
Yeah,
and or to like for that sense of like using your offhand really to like control the to have controls at the ready for you to like access. Although having like a paintbrush might be. As your finger is a little tricky of a mechanic to work with, but then using that to like create your palette, to change your colors and then make your shapes. One of the things that I think will be compelling long term is like maybe where is the stop sharing? So one of the things that might be compelling for 3D modelers is like being able to actually do 3D sculpts in physical space. So you can before it used to be like, oh, I'm like doing this on a flat screen and I'm like using the Wacom tablet to like rotate the thing and then sculpting again flat, like I'm sculpting on a 2D plane, which doesn't you're not getting a true experience as a sculptor versus I think even though it's still debatable whether you're getting a true experience, at least it will feel closer to the truth if you were actually be able to look around and look at the sculpting, looking at the sculpture as you're sculpting it, right, in 3D space. I think that'll be an interesting step to do as an app.
Does any of the stuff you were playing with require visionOS 2? Like, has it been updated for that?
No, but I feel like majority of the people who are working in that somehow has magically moved up to because there's so much benefit to visionOS 2.
Yeah, didn't it improve gesture recognition? So did you have to compile against the SDK to get that, or do you have to adopt a different API?
Oh, no, for the spatial paint one, that was an app on the App Store.
That's what I mean. Like, do you think the spatial paint has it been updated to take advantage of any of that?
No, But the thing is like you kind of get it for free. So like the latency, for example, has improved with visionOS 2.
You don't need to build against the SDK to get it.
No.
Okay.
At least as far as I can tell. Maybe they probably did anyway, just to see.
Well, yeah.
But
that's cool.
there are some other side benefits of visionOS 2 SDKs that are a little better in terms of support. But the overall, the key one is like the latency between like your hand tracking has been reduced from like 0.5 to like 0.3 to 0.2, like 0.2, 0.2 in terms of like latencies. So before it used to be like if you saw like a 3D model, it would like follow you, like your hand would move here, and then the 3D model, like the 3D points would like follow afterwards. Like it would be very obvious if you did like a fast hand gesture, and it would just like it'd take like half a second to like catch up. Whereas in what you saw there, or in like there's a game called Beat Punch, which is like a rhythm game, kind of similar to like Synth Rider, but instead of like, it's similar to like, it's like a blend between Synth Rider, which is like, you know, you're kind of like trying to like hold two balls in your hands. It sounds gross, but and then you're like riding a trail, versus I think in Beat Punch you're just punching blocks. So it's similar to Beat Saber, but instead of like using sabers, you're using your fist. So I think this is kind of like one part of a larger story of a UX kind of like paradigm shift of sorts, where I think there are a lot of things in that space where gestures are going to get more complex. Even Apple doesn't have like any real clear support for it. They can tell you like all the sort of indexes of things of where your hands are, but they're not going to give you any specifics about like, oh, your hand is pointing a finger, or it's open palm or closed palm. It's not giving you like very, like in the case of like iOS, you have modifiers or different types of gestures, whether it be tap, long press, drag, rotate. You have it all built in, right? Whereas in this case, it's like it's a little more Wild Westy.
Right.
So again, getting back to like the Vision Hack, where it's kind of like a global hackathon that happened this past weekend. If you do like hashtag Vision Hack, you'll see them. There are like they are sharing in like a kind of interesting experience of like UI effects, kind of specific around either like and particularly around hand gesture recognition, as well as like taking. It's kind of like creating cute ways to create transitions between kind of AR experience to like immersion experience. That's one thing that I think that's a big deal in visionOS that makes it very distinct from the other platforms, is this very ease of transition between fading into AR and then fading into VR and back again. Like there's a clear purpose when you're one or the other. You can still transition back to the other pretty easily with the dial, but the point about is that there's an intentionality that's defined in that sort of like space.
Had a couple examples you put in our notes.
Yes, although those examples, let me just make sure. Those examples are, I think, around the gun, the hand gesture mechanic again, where I think it was a way to show and demonstrate that you can. Maybe in this case, this example here shows kind of like targets for which then you can take your hand, and then it teaches you it runs you through like a window pane of like
pew pew.
How to like take your hand and then shoot, like turn your hand into a gun.
You do the classic like little kids playing. Cops or robbers gun gesture, and turns your hand. It overlays your hand with like a super soaker,
right?
And then you're shooting the balloons, I guess, with water or something.
I don't know if they add any effects, but it's kind of like a very dumbed down. Although it's pretty polished for what it is, but it's cool, it's kind of like a dumbed down.
So you do the hand gesture, like you cock your hand back. Is that how it fires it?
That's how it fires it, yeah. And it's using like a sort of like a ray tracing to like find the target.
Is it aiming based on or based on finger pointing?
It's using the finger pointing to fire a ray trace to the target, and if they collide to the 3D balloons that are floating, then it'll it'll accept it as a hit, and then it'll give you the score. It'll add to your score. So that's kind of how that mechanic works.
You should definitely watch
the
this.
notes.
It's a link to X. You should definitely watch this one because it's cool.
Yeah, and then the other one is kind of around the beginning of that kind of idea, and he has sample code in the thread itself. So it's basically the same thing, but I think they're both working on the same idea but different projects.
Oh, this one?
Yeah. So he has a target. He's kind of like in immersion space, and yeah, he has and then he sort of says, and then he sort of just track, and then that you're seeing on the left side like all the
all the code
for it. So like it's a good starting point for you to like kind of get a sense of like, oh, okay, this is, you can use this as a starting point for your shooting, super bad game or something like that.
Well, I mean, that's cool though, because target games are fun.
Yeah. Yep. But it's like a really, again, these are all just sort of like an attempt to understand like how you can create fun experiences. And one of the other things is like turning your hands into something much more than just a pinchy mechanic. Like they're really trying to push that boundary of like, can I do like more Minority Report kind of experiences and use the hand to do much more like cooler things. I think the best example I've seen of that is polished is probably the What If videos. So if you do What If and YouTube, What If Vision Pro or something like that as a search item, you'll find that a walkthrough of that, and that kind of shows you like different types of hand gestures you can use to create shields or do the Doctor Strange thing or whatever. So I think that's something that I think is kind of where I would like to sort of like get a better sense of like what can be done that is a little more expressive than sort of click here, click there, and pinch here, pinch there kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the like epiphany of like use case more than anything else. So,
well, cool.
But yeah.
So there's a lot you can do with the visionOS now, especially with the performance improvements, right?
Yep. So I think with that, we should probably, we're getting close to the hour, so we should probably wrap this up, unless anybody else has anything they want to add.
This is all very cool, and if only it was a few $1,000s cheaper, and didn't cost as much as like my car did when I bought it a decade plus ago. That's a little bit of exaggeration, but not a lot. It's still very expensive.
I was about to say, man, did you get
I got
this
my
at
car.
the,
My car was
shadiest
$12,000.
dealership?
No, my car was like $12,000 something when I bought it. It was a inexpensive car, but
well, I guess if you have it at Apple
time.
Care and the carry-on bag and developer plug-in, the developer plug and other things, yeah, it'll come close. And you ramp up the highest version, the highest storage version of that. Yeah, I think you might get close to that cost. But anyway, that's all we have for today. You can learn more about Affiliate Cocoa at phillycocoa.com. There you'll find links to our Slack group, meetup schedule, and contact info. If you're feeling generous, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your podcast platform of choice is, and share us with all your developer friends. And one more thing. It's the only thing. I'm sharp. Once again, we got to make sure that he gets his...
I was going to say, let's have somebody else this week instead of Ozm. But then Ozm had to come out with like yet another evolution of his product offering that I thought was a good idea to mention. And you put it in the notes here, right?
Did I put it in?
Yeah, you put in the notes that he has an affiliate program now.
He does have an affiliate program now, which I don't know the offhand link to that, but we'll put it in the notes for sure. But yeah, he has an affiliate program. So if your affiliate commission rate is at 70%, so that's actually quite nice. At least generous in my mind.
Again, Ozm is not sponsoring us. We're not paid to do this. But I think that in this case, what's interesting is that Ozm is, he has a day job, right? But his teachable stuff, this course stuff, is actually a really good example of one pathway you could take as a developer in this space to do like side income, do a side business, maybe turn into something bigger. And Ozm's just been racing ahead, like full speed on lately anyway, it seems like. I mean, he's been doing it for a long time, but his evolution of his membership program and stuff, I think he's a good example. Oh, look, there's a quote. I'm quoted on his page. I didn't even know. There I am. I'm on his. I'm one of the students quoted. So yeah, I think Ozm is one of those guys you should look at, not just because the content's really useful, but if you're interested in, maybe looking outside just writing software or making products as another valuable avenue of a business opportunity. There just seems to be a lot of developers now that are doing this. And Ozm is one of the ones doing it very well. So definitely worth checking out just for that reason alone. And now he has an affiliate program too. So that's kind of cool. I've never done an affiliate program before.
So yeah. And again, ozmsharp.school. He offers online tutorials. He has a subscription program where you can get access to all his resources.
Yeah.
He has a YouTube channel. He has a newsletter. He has live tutorial sessions where you can learn a lot of very bespoke things like Superbase.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, just a great example of a content creator, developer space.
You got
the Apple
media creator. I gotta hijack this somehow.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
for now.
We're gonna make a new thing because he's a media creator.
He's a media creator. Yeah. Cool. Well,
ozmsharp.school.
Yes. Check it out. Till next time, good luck on your own developer journey. We will cheer for you always.